Part 1 of 3. Welcome to the fascinating and sometimes mysterious world of Gypsy weddings, filled with extraordinary traditions, ancient rituals, and often eerie customs surrounding these celebrations. In this story, I will try to reveal the reasons and meanings behind the customs that accompany a Gypsy wedding and explain why some of them may seem truly shocking and even horrifying from a modern perspective. You will learn why, during the celebration, a Gypsy woman may lose her virginity, not of her own free will, but because it is part of their ancient rite, closely tied to the traditions of this people. We will also touch upon other ancient and largely intimidating rituals characteristic of the Gypsies and attempt to understand their deeper significance and historical context. Let's start with how the bride is chosen. Usually, her father is responsible for selecting her, and she has no right to oppose or express disagreement on this matter. In this society, there is a strict hierarchy where the role of the father or an elder male in the family is extremely important. From an early age, the girl is prepared within a specific circle and gets ready for the day she will marry. During the wedding preparations, the groom must buy his bride, and gold serves as the form of payment. This gold can be measured not only in coins or bars, but also in kilograms, indicating the considerable wealth that the groom's family is expected to possess. Interestingly, what is called gold is often not a noble metal. Many of these ornaments are made from inexpensive alloys containing copper and beryllium, which by nature are far from precious metal alloys. Therefore, it would be more accurate to call them bronze rather than gold, as their value and appearance differ greatly from real gold. An important aspect of Gypsy wedding traditions is that the bride can be taken to a stranger's house by unknown gypsies who may arrive unannounced. If the girl spends the night there, her parents are compelled to agree to the marriage, because refusal or resistance could bring shame to the entire family. Wedding attire is created with particular care and is custom-made. The dress must be very bright, revealing, and essentially immodest. It must have an open neckline so that everyone present can see and admire. The bride should look stunning and attractive, as on this day she temporarily becomes the center of attention. At the same time, she is expected to behave modestly and silently, which is considered a sign of respect for her future husband and his family. Despite the festive atmosphere, the bride is obliged to cry publicly, symbolizing that she is leaving her parental home and stepping out from under her parents' care. This moment is considered very important because, in the eyes of society, it demonstrates her sincere attachment and devotion. At Romani weddings, it is not customary to shout Gorko, as it is among Slavs. Instead, all guests await the most important and touching moment, the wedding ceremony. The atmosphere during the ceremony is usually filled with anxiety and tension, since the marriage can fall apart at the very last moment. Why does this happen? The answer lies in the peculiarities of tradition and how the entire ceremony is perceived. The bride's mother often prepares her to endure this very intimate and delicate ritual, as the topic of virginity is considered shameful and hidden. Everything the bride knows, she must surrender as a sign of respect and reverence for family customs, as well as to confirm her honesty. Now let's move on to the most frightening and mysterious ritual, the sacredness of the first wedding night. This ritual usually takes place during the wedding celebration, and the newlyweds, not waiting for nightfall, go to a secluded room covered with white sheets. Meanwhile, the celebration continues, and the guests remain in the hall, waiting to see what will happen. This entire moment is filled with anticipation. There is also a more savage, essentially unbearable version of the traditional rite, which simply cannot be comprehended by a modern person accustomed to certain norms and values. In this version, on the first wedding night, when the young bride is among the guests, something occurs that can be called a public and shocking display. At the table where all attendees gather, a ceremony unfolds in which every gaze is fixed precisely on her. This event becomes a real test, as it threatens not only the honor of the young woman, but also the fate of her entire kinship and future descendants. In such a situation, even the slightest doubt about her innocence can ruin not only her personal destiny, but also an entire family line. For this reason, the importance and seriousness of this ritual are difficult to overestimate. If the girl does not pass it flawlessly, the consequences can be catastrophic. Only after successfully completing this test, and once the young woman confirms her purity and innocence, does she attain a new, more significant status in the eyes of society and her family. At this moment, she appears before the guests in a bright, vivid red dress, removes her veil, and braids her long, beautifully styled hair into a tight braid. Until this moment, she was allowed to walk with loose hair and without a head covering. It is important to note that among Romani women, there is a strict custom. After marriage, they are forbidden to remain with loose hair or without a head covering, as this is considered a sign of respect for traditions and their new social status. An interesting fact is that in Romani culture, marriage is considered lifelong, which means that wives are obliged to overlook possible infidelities of their husbands. However, in exceptional cases when cohabitation becomes impossible for some reasons, a so-called Gypsy court is convened, consisting of respected men from the camp, to decide the fate of the family and resolve the complex situation. If the ritual is not completed according to the rules, serious consequences follow, and no one considers physiological differences. After all, it is not always the case that girls bleed after the first night, which is a sign of virginity. In such cases, the wedding can simply be interrupted, and the young woman subjected to harsh punishment, such as being beaten with sticks. Her relatives are not allowed to intervene, as this is considered a serious offense in Gypsy culture. Being unmarried is a true curse for a Gypsy woman, because in such a case she risks becoming an outcast in her community, and her relatives seeking salvation may decide to leave their native community and move to another town or settlement where she will be accepted. Within the family, however, there is an obligation to support and protect the bride in any situation, as family and kinship ties are highly valued in Gypsy culture. An essential element in the life of a married Gypsy woman is wearing a long dress consisting of 2 skirts and an apron. Only the apron is allowed to be touched to the body, as the skirts, being close to the dirty body, are considered less clean. For this reason, a Gypsy woman is not allowed to go upstairs if there is a man present. Everything below the waist is also considered dirty and unacceptable to reveal publicly. After the ritual, which symbolizes the honor being carried out, a special ceremony takes place. The bride's father makes cuts on the wrists of the young spouses, mixing their blood. This symbolizes their becoming kin, uniting their destinies, and the obligation to share everything equally, including the burden of responsibility for the future. Afterward, guests present gifts to the newlyweds and offer advice on family life, as this moment lays the foundation for their shared future. The wedding ceremony concludes with the newlyweds leaving the guests and staying alone to finally spend their first wedding night as they wish. Their intimate life is considered sacred and personal, and discussing it is not customary.